Hi guys, welcome to the Entertainment House channel. In this video, we will be summarizing the movie named Lucy, released in 2014. The story begins with the lead character, Lucy, an American girl, who is studying in Taiwan and has a boyfriend named Richard, whom she has been dating for a week. Richard does shady business with mafia bosses for quick cash. He forced Lucy to deliver a briefcase on his behalf to Mr. Jiang, who is residing at this hotel. As Mr. Jiang is unaware of the content of the briefcase, he directed Lucy to open the briefcase by entering this code. He did this to ensure that there are no bombs planted inside the briefcase by other gang members, as he didn't trust Richard. After safely opening the briefcase, Lucy found that there are 4 pouches of blue-colored drugs inside it. To check the effectiveness of the drug, Mr. Jiang pierced one of the pouches and fed it to a captured drugged-up man. After taking 2 small pieces of the drug, the captured guy started laughing madly as if the drug is the best drug that he had ever taken. Mr. Jiang instantly shot the man in front of Lucy. Upon seeing this, Lucy gets shocked and requests Mr. Jiang to release her so that she can go home. Mr. Jiang told her that she could only go home after she deliver this drug, which Lucy refuses and thus gets knocked up by one of the thugs. Elsewhere, a professor named Norman is delivering his research on brain capacity at a conference. Professor Norman is a pioneer in the field of brain studies. He reveals that humans use only 15% of their brain capacity, whereas the only animal that uses more than 15% is the dolphin. With 20% brain utilization, it enables the dolphin to use echolocation, which is more efficient than any sonar invented by mankind. Lucy wakes up in a hotel room. She is surprised to see a bandage on her stomach. Mr. Jiang's man enters the room and throws her a pair of clothes and took her to Mr. Jiang's room with 3 other men. A British man explains that a pouch of drug called CPH4 is sewn into each of their stomachs so that they can smuggle the drug to Europe. Lucy finds herself captive and chained up by thugs. One of the thugs starts touching her inappropriately, and as Lucy resists, he starts hitting her and lands a kick on her stomach. This causes the drug bag to tear and release a large quantity of the drugs into her body. Next, Lucy wakes up with her eyes glowing blue and sits up straight. A thug comes into the room, and Lucy teases him and succeeds in getting him knocked out. She grabs his gun and walks out of the room and kills the remaining thugs. However, she gets shot in her shoulder, but she causally takes the bullet out without feeling any pain. After that, she goes to the nearby hospital where she found out that she now has the capability to read Chinese as if they were written in English. She then enters the operating room, where the doctors are operating on a patient. However, after looking at the patient's X-ray scans, she shoots the patient and explains that the doctors can't save the patient as the tumor on his brain has already spread far enough. Lucy forces the doctor to remove the bag of drugs from her stomach, while she calls her mother and says that she can feel everything: space, the air, the rotation of the earth, and even has access to the deepest part of her memories. The doctors manage to remove the drug pouch and are told by Lucy that the drug is CPH4. The doctor then says that natural CPH4 is produced in tiny quantities by pregnant women to provide energy for the fetuses to develop. Soon after, Lucy returns to Mr. Jiang's hotel. She immediately kills his bodyguards and assaults him by stabbing knives into both of his hands. Using her new abilities, she hacks into Mr. Jiang's mind and extracts the locations of the 3 remaining drug mules based on images of their plane tickets from his brain. She then goes back to her apartment and meets her roommate, Caroline. As she hugs Caroline, Lucy is able to scan her entire body. She quickly borrows her laptop to research about her condition and finds out about Professor Norman, whose research may be the key to saving her life. Lucy immediately contacts him and tells him that she has reached up to 20% of her brain capacity. She provides proof of her developed abilities by manipulating electronics and making her appearance on several electronic gadgets in Norman's room. She makes a plan to meet him in 12 hours. Before leaving, she prints out a prescription for Caroline, telling her to make some changes to her unhealthy lifestyle. The news of Lucy's action at the hospital last night has spread all over the media, so she changes her hair color and style before boarding the flight. She also contacts the local police captain, Pierre Del Rio, and sends him the details of the 3 remaining drug mules. He coordinates with airport security at all the destinations at which the drug mules will be arriving and manages to capture them. Pierre asks his man to secure them in Paris. During the flight to Paris, Lucy continues her research on 2 laptops by typing at high speed. After drinking a glass of champagne, her brain utilization capacity increases to 40%. She finds her teeth fall off into the glass, and slowly her body starts to disintegrate. Lucy immediately runs to the bathroom where her body starts to disappear. To stave off her disintegration, she pulls out the remaining CPH4 and snorts them, restoring her to normal, but she ends up passing out. A few moments later, Lucy wakes up in a hospital. By consuming the drug, her brain capacity enhances to 50% capacity. Soon after that, she left with Captain Pierre to the location where the remaining drug mules are kept held. On her way, she intercepts the phone signal using her power and gets to know that Mr. Jiang's top henchman is about to go to the hospital where the drug mules are being secured. Therefore, she takes over Pierre's car and drives manically through the streets. However, Mr. G with his armed men has already arrived at the hospital to retrieve the drug pouches. They take the drug mules to a room and take the drugs out of their stomachs after killing them. When they attempt to escape with the drugs, Lucy finally arrives at the hospital. With her brain function at 60%, she prevents Mr. G from escaping by creating some kind of invisible wall. When the goons try to fight her, she makes them float away one after another. She eventually retrieves the drugs from him and starts to leave the hospital with Pierre. Outside, Mr. Jiang notices Lucy in a car, so he orders his men to follow her car. Soon, Lucy and Pierre meet Norman and his colleagues at a university, where Lucy starts to reveal everything she knows with her brain power, which now exceeds that of a normal human. Meanwhile, Mr. Jiang orders his men to infiltrate the place. Lucy sensed that and ordered Pierre to ask for backup forces in order to stop Mr. Jiang. Back in the professor's lab, Lucy discusses the nature of time and life and how people's humanity distorts their perceptions. She explains that time is the only true unit of measure. Without time we don't exist. After hearing gunshots from the thugs, she urges the scientists to inject the contents of all 3 remaining bags of CPH4. Soon after the drugs enter her system, her brain power increases to 70%, and her body starts changing into a black substance which begins to spread over computers and other electronic objects in the lab, giving Lucy more energy from the matter, and thus giving her extraordinary power. As her brain power continues to increase to 80%, she manipulates matter in such a way that erases everything in the lab, leaving the scientist standing in a white space. Gradually her brain capacity increased to 90%. On the other side, Mr. Jiang and his men are overwhelmed against the police, so he orders G to blow up the door using a rocket launcher. Luckily, Lucy manages to transfer her body thousands of miles to Paris, followed by New York Times Square. She mentally begins a space-time journey into the past using a wave of her hand, starting from the early 20th century in New York, to colonial times, even all the way to prehistoric times, and eventually reaching the oldest discovered ancestor of mankind. She shares a moment of calm with the Australopithecus whom we call Lucy, and as the 2 fingertips touch, she goes back to the beginning of the universe. However, Mr. Jiang enters the lab and slowly points his gun at Lucy's head. Lucy's body continues to get covered by the black substance. As Mr. Jiang shoots, Lucy reaches 100% of her brain capacity and promptly disappears, moving into the space-time continuum. She only leaves her clothes and the black supercomputer behind, while Mr. Jiang fires his gun at nothing. Pierre then enters the lab and fatally shoots Mr. Jiang. After a while, the supercomputer disintegrates and morphs into a black flash drive which is taken by Professor Norman. Pierre asks Professor Norman where Lucy is, but his cell phone suddenly sounds, and he sees a text message indicating that she is everywhere. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.